Stop searching for more motivation. That is not your problem. Your real problem is broken discipline. Today you will uncover 12 hidden discipline secrets Napoleon Hill never wrote in bold but lived every single day. These are not theories. They are codes you can install into your life right now. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will never look at the word discipline the same way again. You think you need more motivation. You think the secret is a hidden spark, a single phrase, a sudden flash that changes everything. But that is the lie you have been sold. The truth is harder, colder, but also far more powerful. Napoleon Hill did not rise on charm or chance. He built a structure of discipline so tight that it squeezed weakness out of his days. That is the secret he never put on the first page. You are here because you feel it. The endless cycle of starting and stopping, of fire in the morning and ashes at night. You chase new routines and abandon them within weeks. You read new books, take new notes, but fall into the same gravity of delay. Hill would tell you plainly. The problem is not what you dream. The problem is what you repeat. Now picture this. A man sits at his desk in the dark hours before sunrise. There is no applause. No audience. Only paper, pen, and his own restless ambition. He writes, not because he feels like it, but because he told himself yesterday that today would be written. The discipline is not in the act itself. The discipline is in the chain. One link locked to another. Break one, and the chain weakens. Keep the chain unbroken, and the chain pulls you forward. This is the first secret you were never told. Discipline is not about force. Discipline is about links. Here is where you must step in. You already know the patterns that sabotage you. The endless checking of your phone before you begin. The silent negotiation that says maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe after coffee. The reason you fail is not because you are weak. It is because you leave the door open. Hill closed the door. He cut off retreat. That is why his system worked. If you want to enter his code, you must shut down the negotiations before they even begin. Decide tonight. Act tomorrow. Repeat until the decision is no longer a decision but a habit carved into your identity. Think about the way you treat your future self. You set goals, but then you send your future self to fight battles without weapons. You say tomorrow I will be disciplined. But when tomorrow comes you hand your future self a stack of excuses instead of tools. Hill knew that the real secret was to prepare in advance. Write the task. Lay out the pen. Clear the desk. Make tomorrow automatic before tomorrow arrives. That is not inspiration. That is engineering. You must become an engineer of your own behavior. That is the first discipline secret. Macro vision tells you discipline is grand. Micro reality shows it is small. One tiny setup tonight. One execution tomorrow. Then repeat. The micro turns into the macro when the loop stays closed. Every time you close the loop you tell your brain this is who I am. I am the kind of person who starts and finishes. That identity becomes more valuable than any dream. Because once you believe it, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop breaking the chain. You live inside the code. So here is your formula for this first secret. Step 1. Remove every option that delays you. Shut down the escape routes. Step 2. Preload the behavior. Place tools, plans, and triggers in the path of tomorrow. Step 3. Close the loop every single day no matter how small. Even a single action counts if it closes the loop. This is not a philosophy you admire from afar. This is a system you install. Tonight you decide. Tomorrow you act. And the day after you repeat. That is how you join the hidden circle of discipline that Napoleon Hill lived but never shouted. And if you can carry this for the next 7 days, you will never look at the word discipline the same again. You want to know why discipline slips away from you. It is not because you lack strength. It is because you do not measure the right thing. You chase the outcome, and when the outcome does not arrive fast enough, you collapse. Napoleon Hill understood a secret most people never grasp. He did not measure by results first. He measured by rhythm. If the rhythm stayed alive, the results had no choice but to appear. That is the second discipline secret. Results are delayed, rhythm is immediate. You need to shift what you measure. Think about your own life. You begin a new plan, and you look for instant proof. You want the body to change, the bank account to grow, the business to bloom. But those outcomes take weeks or months. So what happens? You lose sight of the rhythm. You say it is not working, and you stop. Hill knew that if the rhythm is repeated long enough, the outcome will bow to it. Rhythm is the law you forgot. Discipline is not about chasing results. Discipline is about defending rhythm. Picture a drummer in a marching band. The crowd hears the music, but the power is in the beat. If the drummer holds the beat, the entire band stays in order. If the drummer falters, chaos spreads. You are that drummer. Your rhythm dictates your progress. You do not need 100 perfect days. You need one beat carried into the next. That is why Hill often wrote about persistence more than passion. Passion burns hot but fades. Persistence beats in rhythm. Day after day. Night after night. The secret is rhythm, not fireworks. Here is how you break your own cycle. You stop asking did I win today and you start asking did I keep the beat today. If you wrote one page, the beat is alive. If you trained for 10 minutes, the beat is alive. If you made one call, the beat is alive. It is not the size of the action. It is the continuity of the rhythm. That is what compounds. That is what Hill installed in his own work. His manuscripts did not appear in a single burst. They appeared through thousands of consistent beats. Now take this secret into your life. Your mind will try to cheat you. It will say a small action does not matter. It will whisper that unless you can do it perfectly, you should not do it at all. That is the voice that breaks rhythm. You silence that voice by acting small but steady. By keeping the beat alive no matter how weak it feels. Even if the step is tiny, the rhythm is preserved. Preserve rhythm long enough, and you will surprise yourself. You will look back and see the outcome that once felt impossible. That is the trap you must escape. Stop tying your discipline to outcomes. Tie it to rhythm. Here is your formula for this second secret. Step 1. Identify one rhythm that matters most for the next 30 days. Writing, training, building, studying. Choose one. Step 2. Define the beat. What is the smallest action that keeps the rhythm alive? Make it so small you cannot fail. Step 3. Track rhythm, not results. Mark the days you keep the beat. Do not break the chain. That is your new scoreboard. Once you learn to play this game, discipline becomes lighter. You stop judging yourself for not winning big every day. You start rewarding yourself for staying alive in rhythm. This is how momentum compounds without pressure. This is how Hill built his empire of words and ideas. He guarded rhythm, and rhythm delivered the rest. Remember this. Discipline does not die because you are lazy. Discipline dies because you measure the wrong thing. Shift your scoreboard today. Keep the beat alive tomorrow. Defend rhythm the day after. And soon you will not ask if it is working. You will be too busy writing the rhythm to doubt it. That is the second discipline secret Napoleon Hill never placed in bold letters, but lived every day. And now you carry it. You believe discipline is about pushing harder. You think if you just grind with more force, success will bow to your effort. But Napoleon Hill understood another hidden layer. Discipline is not always about adding pressure. Sometimes it is about removing friction. This is the third secret. Your brain is not only a generator of willpower. It is also a machine that follows the path of least resistance. Hill shaped his environment so the right path was easier and the wrong path was harder. That is why his habits endured when others collapsed. Look at your own day. You plan to read, but the phone is on the table. You plan to train, but the shoes are buried in the closet. You plan to write, but your desk is cluttered. You fail not because the task is impossible, but because friction pulls you off course. Hill knew that discipline is fragile in the moment of choice. 1 second of friction can kill momentum. So he prepared in advance. His pen was always on the desk. His papers always stacked. His schedule written before he woke. He engineered an environment where the next step was the easiest step. Now picture yourself walking into a room. On the desk sits a notebook open to a blank page, a pen resting across it, the lamp already lit. Without thinking, you sit and write. That is the power of removing friction. It is not about strength. It is about design. You do not negotiate with yourself because the path has already been cleared. This is the secret you were not told. Discipline can be designed. The strongest willpower is not force. It is the absence of resistance. Here is how you can install this secret. Step 1. Identify the friction points that break you. List the moments where you hesitate and drift. Step 2. Remove one friction tonight. Lay out clothes for training. Place the book on the pillow. Clear the desk. Make the next action smoother than the distraction. Step 3. Add friction to the wrong path. Log out of social apps. Move the remote across the room. Make the delay greater than the habit you want to break. With each adjustment, you tilt the game in your favor. You stop relying on bursts of power and start relying on design. Think of this like water carving stone. Water does not need willpower. It flows through the path of least resistance. If you shape your environment correctly, your actions will flow with less struggle. That is the discipline secret hidden between the lines of Hill's teaching. He spoke of autosuggestion and habit loops, but the practical side was environment. He removed the decision from his weaker self by preparing for his stronger self. And you can do the same tonight. Macro vision shows discipline as a heroic struggle. Micro reality shows it as simple preparation. One small change to your environment can shift hundreds of choices. Move friction once, and discipline multiplies silently. Over a month, over a year, these adjustments become your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles to start. You start seeing yourself as someone who simply does. That is the identity Hill lived in. He was not constantly forcing. He was flowing in a design he built. You can build the same design. So remember the formula. Remove one friction tonight. Add one friction to the wrong path. Prepare one action for tomorrow. Do this daily, and soon your environment will push you forward without effort. That is not magic. That is architecture. Napoleon Hill designed his discipline like an engineer designs a bridge. Strong, stable, reliable. Now it is your turn to build yours. You think discipline means saying yes to everything hard. You try to stack 10 goals at once, chasing productivity like a trophy. But here is the fourth secret Napoleon Hill lived by but rarely highlighted. Discipline is not just the power of yes. It is the courage of no. He understood that every yes without boundaries dilutes your strength. Real discipline is selective. It cuts, prunes, and refines. Hill did not try to master 10 pursuits at once. He locked his energy into one definite chief aim and cut away what did not serve it. That is the secret you must absorb. Look at your own life. How many half-built projects sit waiting for you? How many habits have you tried to start, only to drop them weeks later? You drown not because the goals are impossible, but because you scatter your force across too many fronts. Hill's genius was focus. He wrote often about definite purpose. Behind those words was this truth. Discipline cannot survive dilution. A laser burns through steel because it is concentrated. A flashlight beam scatters and fades. You have been living as the flashlight. It is time to become the laser. Picture this. You sit down with a notebook and list 10 things you want to change. Fitness, writing, business, reading, side projects, all staring back at you. The ordinary approach is to try all of them. The hidden code is to circle one. Yes, only one. Then build discipline around that until it becomes identity. The courage of no is what gives power to your yes. Every time you cut away, you increase intensity. This is why Hill's system worked. He gave himself no escape routes, and also no dilution. His discipline was single-threaded, not scattered. Now apply this to your own path. Step 1. Choose the aim that matters most in the next 90 days. The one pursuit that, if conquered, will raise all others. Step 2. Write down the distractions and competing aims. Step 3. Eliminate or delay them. Say no now so your yes can deepen. Step 4. Build daily discipline only around that chosen aim. Small actions repeated for that single target. Guard the rhythm until it is unbreakable. Then and only then, expand to the next pursuit. Think about how much energy you waste by shifting lanes. You start writing, then scroll your phone. You plan to train, then switch to cleaning. You study, then wander into entertainment. Each switch costs you. Each distraction robs your rhythm. Hill avoided this by ruthless focus. He treated distractions like thieves. He refused them entry. You must do the same. The courage of no is not weakness. It is the architecture of progress. Macro view shows success as a mountain of many skills. Micro-reality reveals it is often one discipline done deeply that unlocks the rest. The writer who finishes the book learns persistence. The athlete who trains daily learns consistency. The entrepreneur who builds one habit of execution learns resilience. Each core habit spreads into every corner of life. You do not need 10 habits. You need one that sticks. Hill knew this. That is why he preached purpose. It was not just about dreams. It was about building the conditions where discipline could survive. Here is your formula. Select one aim. Cut away the rest. Build discipline only around that aim for 90 days. Do not negotiate. Do not dilute. Say no with conviction. Let your yes burn like a laser. This is the secret discipline lives on. Not in endless addition, but in courageous subtraction. Napoleon Hill mastered this quietly. You must now master it loudly. You still believe discipline is a battle fought in the morning when you wake up or at night when you are tired. You think it is a moment of decision. But Napoleon Hill's hidden code reveals another layer. Discipline is not decided in the moment. Discipline is programmed before the moment. That is the fifth secret. You do not win by fighting temptation at the point of contact. You win by writing the script before the scene arrives. Hill called it autosuggestion, but the essence was mental rehearsal. He trained his mind to act in advance, so when the moment came there was no choice left. Only execution. Think of how you normally operate. You tell yourself tomorrow I will resist the phone. Tomorrow I will eat clean. Tomorrow I will write. But when tomorrow arrives, your tired self negotiates. You try to summon willpower at the worst possible time. That is why you break. Hill knew this trap. He wrote his instructions to himself every night. He repeated affirmations every morning. He rehearsed what he would do so clearly that when the choice appeared it was not a battle. It was a script unfolding. That is discipline at a higher level. Preloaded action. Now imagine this. You are walking into your kitchen at night. The old you would open the fridge and wander. But you have written a line in your notebook. At 10 o'clock, I drink water and I go to bed. Because you rehearsed it, you walk in, see the fridge, and your mind auto-replies with the script you wrote. You drink water. You turn off the light. You go to bed. No debate. That is not superhuman strength. That is preparation. The strongest discipline is the one that bypasses negotiation. Here is how you make this real. Step 1. Decide the exact action you want to repeat. Step 2. Write it down as a direct command to yourself. Keep it simple and precise. Step 3. Repeat it at night before you sleep and again in the morning before you begin. Step 4. Visualize yourself doing it as if it already happened. By the time you arrive at the real scene, your brain recognizes it as a script already rehearsed. You are not trying to remember. You are simply running the code. This is autosuggestion transformed into action discipline. Think of a pilot running through a checklist before takeoff. In an emergency, he does not freeze. He runs the script. That is how planes stay safe. Your life works the same way. Without a script, you rely on panic and hope. With a script, you rely on clarity. Hill wrote that thoughts become things. But more precisely, rehearsed thoughts become automatic things. If you rehearse distraction, distraction becomes the habit. If you rehearse action, action becomes the habit. You must choose what to rehearse. Macro view shows discipline as a contest of strength. Micro reality shows it as a script you run without thought. One line repeated daily can reshape months. One instruction written tonight can rewrite the choices of tomorrow. The code is not about force. It is about programming. And once the program is installed, you become the kind of person who simply acts without debate. That identity is worth more than all the scattered willpower in the world. So here is your formula for the fifth secret. Write the script tonight. Repeat it tomorrow morning. Visualize yourself running it. Then arrive at the moment and let the code play out. Do this for 7 days and you will feel it. The struggle shrinks. The debates vanish. You stop asking, can I do it? You start asking, what is the next script I will write? That is the real engine of discipline Napoleon Hill tapped into quietly. And it is now yours to run. You believe discipline is about effort stacked on effort. You imagine yourself pushing every day with clenched fists and gritted teeth. But Napoleon Hill saw another dimension. He knew discipline is not just effort. It is order. That is the sixth secret. Chaos drains your will before the task even begins. Order multiplies your will without extra cost. Hill built routines like tracks for a train. Once on the tracks, the train does not question where to go. It just moves. You have been derailing yourself by starting each day in chaos. He locked himself into order before the world could scatter his mind. Look closely at your mornings. Do you reach for your phone before your feet hit the ground? Do you scroll before you move? Do you enter the day with noise already pulling your attention? That chaos kills discipline before you even act. Hill guarded his mornings with structure. He had fixed rituals, clear steps, predictable order. This gave him clarity when others wasted energy on decisions. You must see this clearly. Each choice you make without structure is a leak. Each leak drains focus. Enough leaks, and you have nothing left to give your aim. Picture this. 2 people wake at the same time. One stumbles through random choices. Coffee first or messages first? News or tasks? He burns energy in small debates before he even begins his real work. The other rises with a script. He journals for 10 minutes. He reads 1 page. He writes his plan. Then he attacks the first task without hesitation. By noon, his track record is clear while the first person still feels lost. The difference is not talent. It is order. Order transforms scattered energy into directed power. Here is how you make this shift. Step 1. Choose 3 rituals to anchor your morning. Simple, clear, repeatable. Step 2. Fix the order. Do them in the same sequence every day. Step 3. Protect that sequence from interruption. Do not allow noise to break in before the rituals are complete. Step 4. Begin your hardest task immediately after the sequence. By chaining the rituals to the task, you make momentum automatic. That is the hidden power of order. It creates a tunnel where action is the only exit. Think about how you feel when your room is clean compared to when it is cluttered. The same applies to your time. A cluttered schedule creates mental clutter. A structured schedule creates mental clarity. Hill understood that self-discipline is not just inner strength. It is external structure guiding inner strength. That is why he stressed definite purpose. With purpose comes order. With order comes clarity. With clarity comes execution. You must stop waking into chaos. You must wake into order. Macro vision shows discipline as force against resistance. Micro reality shows it as rhythm inside order. The strongest people are not always the ones who push hardest. They are the ones who remove confusion before pushing. They save energy by eliminating decisions that do not matter. They arrive at the battlefield fresh, while others arrive already exhausted. That is the secret you must claim. Do not spend your willpower deciding the basics. Spend it driving the essentials. Here is your formula for this sixth secret. Anchor 3 rituals. Fix their order. Defend their sequence. Then attack your hardest task while your energy is intact. This removes the chaos that leaks your discipline. It builds tracks so strong that your train of action cannot derail. This is how Hill built consistent output. He did not fight chaos daily. He eliminated chaos with order. You must now do the same if you want to live inside his hidden code. You think discipline survives in silence, that it is something private, hidden within your own will. But Napoleon Hill knew a deeper layer. Discipline grows stronger when it is witnessed. That is the seventh secret. Accountability multiplies action. When another person sees your promise, when someone expects your consistency, you rise above your weaker self. Hill worked with mentors, partners, and allies. He did not rely on himself alone. He designed a circle where his word carried weight because others held him to it. Look at your own attempts. You tell yourself you will wake at 5. You say you will finish the project by Friday. But when no one knows, breaking the promise feels light. You negotiate. You say tomorrow is fine. This is how discipline collapses in private shadows. Hill used a different system. He spoke his goals. He involved others in his progress. He allowed his reputation to carry his discipline when his mood would not. He understood a simple truth. We guard what others can see more fiercely than what we hide. You must use this truth instead of pretending you are above it. Imagine this. 2 writers begin a book. One writes quietly, never telling anyone, never sharing deadlines. When he feels tired, he skips a day, then 2, then 3. Soon the book is only a dream again. The other writer tells 3 friends, I will deliver a chapter every week. He knows they will ask. He knows silence will reveal failure. When he feels tired, he writes anyway because he will not face the shame of breaking his word. Who finishes first? The answer is obvious. Accountability made the difference. Here is how you build it. Step 1. Choose a goal that matters. Step 2. Speak it to someone you respect. Step 3. Give them permission to ask you about it. Step 4. Deliver updates no matter how small. Each update reinforces your own identity. Each report strengthens the chain. Over time you stop acting only for yourself. You act for the standard you set publicly. That weight turns discipline from a whisper into a vow. Think about the athletes who train not just for themselves but for the teammates beside them. Think about soldiers who endure not just for their own survival but for the person next to them. Human beings carry more when others depend on them. You can hack this truth into your own habits. Stop working in the dark. Bring light to your promises. Let others see, and you will discover strength you did not know you had. This is not weakness. This is leverage. Macro vision shows discipline as self-reliance. Micro reality reveals it as interdependence. The strongest individuals use networks to amplify their discipline. They tie their word to others and therefore tie their actions to their identity. You do not need 1,000 people watching you. You need one person who cares enough to ask. That single witness can change the trajectory of your effort. Hill leveraged networks of accountability throughout his career. He built discipline into the public domain. That is why it held under pressure. Here is your formula for the seventh secret. Declare one goal. Share it with one person you respect. Report your progress weekly. Do not hide failure, let it sting. Use that sting to push you back into rhythm. This turns discipline from a fragile inner promise into a reinforced outer contract. Napoleon Hill tapped into this human truth quietly, but you can use it loudly. And once you do, you will discover that accountability is not a burden. It is a multiplier of discipline. You have been told that discipline is a grind, a daily battle where you must push against resistance with pure force. But Napoleon Hill revealed another hidden truth. Discipline does not only survive in pain. It thrives in reward. That is the eighth secret. Hill understood that small rewards fuel long consistency. He built satisfaction into his process, not just at the finish line but in every step along the way. Discipline that feels like endless punishment eventually cracks. Discipline that is paired with small wins becomes self-reinforcing. Look back at your own struggles. You build a new habit and demand perfection. You miss one day and punish yourself. You tell yourself you are weak. That shame breaks rhythm faster than any obstacle. Hill knew better. He created reinforcement loops. Each time he followed his plan, he allowed himself a feeling of victory. He reminded himself he was becoming the person he intended to be. That recognition was his reward. The process itself became fulfilling. That is why he could continue when others stopped. Imagine this. A student decides to study every night. He forces himself to grind for hours, hating every minute. After a week he collapses. Another student studies for 30 minutes, then marks a big red X on his calendar. That X becomes a symbol of victory. Each day he adds another X, and soon he has a chain of wins. The second student lasts months, while the first burns out in days. The secret is not more pressure. It is built-in reward. Your brain craves closure and satisfaction. If you deny it, you break. If you feed it, you thrive. Here is how you apply this. Step 1. Define the habit or action you want to build. Step 2. Attach a visible marker of completion. This could be a calendar X, a notebook checkmark, a simple note saying done. Step 3. Allow yourself a small burst of recognition. Say out loud, I did it. Step 4. Never break the streak without restarting immediately the next day. This keeps the loop alive. Discipline grows stronger when your brain learns to crave the act itself because it is tied to reward. Think about why people become addicted to games. Each level completed, each badge earned, each small signal of progress hooks the brain. You can use the same principle to anchor discipline. Design visible rewards. Design progress markers. Train your brain to enjoy the process instead of only chasing distant results. Hill may not have called it gamification, but he lived it. His repeated affirmations, his constant tracking, his reminders of progress were all rewards disguised as systems. He made progress satisfying, and that satisfaction carried him forward. Macro vision paints discipline as endless suffering. Micro reality shows it as a loop of action and reward. Pain alone burns out. Pain plus progress sustains. You must learn to wire your brain the way Hill wired his. Every small step is a victory. Every repeated action is a win. Stack those wins, and soon the habit becomes identity. Discipline then stops being something you drag yourself into. It becomes something you crave because it feeds you. Here is your formula for the 8th secret. Choose one discipline you want to install. Mark every completion with a visible sign. Celebrate small wins without shame. Protect the streak as if it were gold. Let satisfaction become fuel. Soon you will not only act disciplined. You will feel disciplined. That feeling is powerful. It keeps you moving when logic says stop. Napoleon Hill unlocked this quietly, but you can now unlock it loudly. Once you do, reward will no longer be an enemy of discipline. It will be its hidden partner. You think discipline means pushing forward no matter what, as if energy is unlimited and will never run out. But Napoleon Hill knew the hidden truth. The 9th secret is that discipline must be renewed through rest and recovery. He understood that without strategic pauses, consistency collapses. Discipline is not about running until you break. It is about sustaining a rhythm you can carry for years. Hill never treated his mind like a machine. He treated it like a garden. A garden grows only if it has both sun and rain, both action and rest. Look at your own pattern. You push for 3 days, maybe 5. You sleep less, skip meals, drive yourself harder. Then you burn out, crash, and disappear for weeks. You think you failed because you are weak, but the truth is you did not design recovery into your system. Hill knew that a drained mind cannot carry discipline. He scheduled time for reflection, for stillness, for renewal. These moments were not wasted. They were the fuel that made the next round possible. You must learn this secret or you will repeat the cycle of start and stop forever. Picture 2 athletes. One trains every single day at maximum intensity, ignoring signals of fatigue. After a month he is injured, unable to continue. The other trains hard but also sleeps deeply, hydrates, takes recovery days. After a month he is stronger, faster, and still consistent. The difference is not in their will. It is in their respect for rhythm. Recovery is not weakness. Recovery is strategy. Hill knew that mental focus works the same way. A rested mind is sharper than a tired one grinding through fog. That is why he preached not only persistence but also balance. Here is how you can use this. Step 1. Define recovery as part of your discipline, not the opposite of it. Step 2. Schedule deliberate pauses. This could be sleep, walks, meditation, or quiet reading. Step 3. Protect those pauses with the same intensity you protect your work. Step 4. Return to your discipline immediately after recovery. The pause is a pit stop, not a vacation. It refuels you so the race continues without collapse. Think about how your phone works. It is powerful when charged. But if you drain the battery without plugging in, it dies. You would never curse the phone for being weak. You would simply recharge it. Yet you curse yourself for needing rest. You are not weak for recharging. You are wise. Hill knew that a human mind cannot operate at peak without cycles of renewal. His periods of study, reflection, and planning were his way of recharging. You must create the same cycles. Macro vision shows discipline as endless motion. Micro reality shows it as repeated cycles of motion and renewal. The world praises the grind but forgets the rhythm. Hill lived inside that rhythm. He did not waste energy fighting fatigue. He anticipated it, prepared for it, and recharged in time. That is why his output remained strong across decades. You can live in the same rhythm if you choose recovery as part of the code. Here is your formula for the 9th secret. Build recovery into your daily plan. Respect sleep. Respect reflection. Use pauses as fuel. Then return with doubled energy. Discipline is not destroyed by rest. It is rebuilt by rest. If you ignore this, your discipline will always crack. If you embrace this, your discipline will become unbreakable. Napoleon Hill lived this quietly. Now you can live it boldly. You think discipline is about sheer force applied to every situation. You believe that the strongest win because they never bend, never adjust, never change direction. But Napoleon Hill understood a deeper truth. The 10th secret is that discipline thrives when it is flexible. He knew rigidity breaks, but adaptability survives. The oak tree that refuses to bend in the storm is torn apart, while the reed that bends survives and rises again. Hill's code was not about stubborn force. It was about persistent adaptation. Look at your own habits. You create a plan so tight that the first disruption destroys it. You say you will wake at 5 every morning, but one late night throws the schedule off, and you quit. You promise to write for 2 hours, but one busy day makes you skip, and you abandon the habit entirely. You think you lack discipline, but in truth you lacked flexibility. Hill never confused consistency with rigidity. He stayed consistent by adjusting the form when life shifted. The habit survived because he allowed it to adapt. Picture this. A worker sets out to train daily at the gym. One day his schedule explodes with meetings. The rigid worker says, "I cannot train for an hour, so I will skip." The flexible worker says, "I cannot train for an hour, but I can train for 10 minutes at home." One skips and loses rhythm. The other adapts and keeps rhythm alive. A month later, the second worker is still moving forward while the first has quit entirely. The difference is not strength. It is flexibility woven into discipline. Here is how you use this secret. Step 1. Define the core of the habit, the smallest version that counts as keeping rhythm alive. Step 2. When life disrupts your plan, scale down to that core instead of skipping. Step 3. Celebrate the completion of the core habit, because the rhythm stayed alive. Step 4. Return to full strength the next day without guilt. This flexibility keeps the chain unbroken. Once the chain is alive, progress continues. Think about how builders create bridges. They do not design them to be perfectly stiff. They design them with flexibility so they can handle storms and earthquakes. The bridge does not collapse because it was built to bend. You must build your discipline the same way. If you design it to be perfect, it will collapse. If you design it to adapt, it will last. Hill built his life not by waiting for perfect conditions but by adjusting within imperfect ones. That is why his discipline survived decades. Macro vision paints discipline as iron. Micro reality shows it as water. Water flows around obstacles yet never loses direction. It bends, but it reaches the sea. Discipline designed with flexibility is unstoppable. Discipline designed with rigidity is fragile. You must learn to bend without breaking. That is the hidden code Hill lived by. Not every day was perfect for him. But every day was captured by some form of persistence. That is why he endured. Here is your formula for the 10th secret. Define the smallest version of your habit. Protect rhythm by adapting instead of skipping. Keep the chain alive at all costs. Celebrate adaptation, not perfection. This is how you make discipline sustainable. This is how you escape the trap of all or nothing. Napoleon Hill mastered flexibility without losing persistence. Now it is your turn to practice the same secret until it becomes your code. You believe discipline is built only on visible effort, the actions that everyone can see. You think the secret is what you do in the spotlight. But Napoleon Hill knew another hidden truth. The 11th secret is that discipline is forged in the invisible spaces. What you do when nobody is watching defines your identity more than what you do in front of others. Hill shaped his habits in the quiet hours, not in the moments of applause. He understood that private practice builds public power. Look at your own days. How many times do you act only when there is pressure from outside? You show up strong when deadlines loom, when people expect results, when there is a reward on the line. But when no one is looking, you slip, you delay, you excuse. That gap between private and public is where discipline breaks. Hill did not allow the gap. He trained in silence. He treated the unseen hours as sacred. That is why his work carried such weight in the world. The hidden discipline gave birth to visible results. Picture two musicians. Both perform on stage once a month. One practices only when rehearsals are scheduled, only when others are around. The other practices daily in solitude, even when no performance is near. On stage, the difference is obvious. One is shaky, the other steady. The applause goes to the one who worked when no one clapped. That is the secret you must see. The crowd only reveals what the silence already built. Here is how you apply this. Step 1. Choose one practice you will protect in private. It could be writing, reading, training, planning. Step 2. Set a sacred time each day where no one else's eyes matter. Step 3. Keep the practice alive no matter how small the action. Step 4. Let the results speak later, but never break the private chain. This creates an identity that does not depend on applause. It depends on integrity. Think about athletes again. The medals are won in the hours nobody filmed. The glory is the echo of quiet repetition. Hill understood this clearly. He called it the mastermind principle, but he also emphasized personal initiative. Initiative means you move without being pushed. You practice without being praised. You persist without being noticed. That is the secret of invisible discipline. It is what holds you steady when the world forgets your effort. Macro vision shows discipline as heroic acts. Micro reality shows it as silent rituals. What you repeat unseen shapes who you are seen as later. The private practice creates public power. The invisible hours define the visible victories. You cannot cheat this. You cannot substitute appearance for substance. The one who trains in silence always surpasses the one who performs only for show. This is a law of life that Hill lived by. Here is your formula for the 11th secret. Identify one discipline you will practice in private. Set a daily appointment with yourself. Treat it as sacred as any meeting. Never break it. Track your private chain, not for display but for identity. This will forge a strength no one can take from you. Napoleon Hill lived this way, building his power in the unseen hours. You can do the same starting tonight. Make your private discipline sacred, and your public results will follow with certainty. You have walked through the hidden code of discipline, piece by piece. But Napoleon Hill held one final truth, one secret that ties every other together. The 12th secret is this. Discipline is not something you do. It is something you become. Hill's real achievement was not just writing words or building principles. His real achievement was shaping himself into a man whose very identity was discipline. That is why he could continue across decades. He did not act disciplined. He lived as discipline. Think about your own struggle. You try to glue discipline onto your life like a temporary patch. You use it when things are urgent. You drop it when things feel safe. That is why your progress never lasts. You treat discipline like a visitor instead of a resident. Hill invited discipline into his identity. He stopped saying I will try. He said I am. I am a writer. I am a builder. I am disciplined. That shift changes everything. When discipline is identity, the debate ends. You no longer ask should I. You simply act because it is who you are. Picture this. A runner does not wake up asking if he should run. He wakes and runs because he is a runner. A writer does not ask if she should write. She writes because she is a writer. Discipline is no longer a decision. It is an expression of identity. That is what you must claim. Stop trying to borrow discipline for tasks. Start becoming the kind of person who embodies it. Hill's code was not about willpower alone. It was about identity installation. The strongest habits are born when they merge with who you believe you are. Here is how you begin. Step 1. Write the sentence I am followed by the identity you want. I am disciplined. I am consistent. I am focused. Step 2. Link daily actions to this identity. Each time you act, you reinforce who you are. Step 3. Stop labeling yourself as weak or inconsistent. Begin labeling yourself as the identity you aim to embody. Step 4. Let your environment and your rituals echo this identity. Discipline becomes natural when every choice reflects who you already believe you are. Think about why people defend their names with such intensity. If someone insults your name, you feel attacked. That is because identity is sacred. If you attach discipline to your identity, you will defend it with the same intensity. Missing a task will feel like betraying yourself. That is powerful. That is how Hill built his code into his life. He stopped separating action from self. They became the same. That is the final layer you must adopt. Become the person, and the actions will follow. Macro vision shows discipline as endless effort. Micro reality shows it as identity expression. The deepest level of mastery is not forcing yourself daily. It is becoming the kind of person who naturally lives in rhythm, in order, in focus, in persistence. That is the truth Napoleon Hill embodied even if he did not always write it in bold. He lived as proof that identity powered discipline more than pressure. You can live the same way. You can cross the line from effort into embodiment. Here is your formula for the 12th secret. Write the identity you choose. Link your actions to it daily. Refuse to speak against it. Let your rituals reinforce it until it feels natural. Soon you will not chase discipline as a tool. You will wear it as skin. Napoleon Hill's hidden code ends here. Discipline is not a mask you put on. It is the person you become. Now step into that identity. Say it. I am disciplined. Say it again. I am disciplined. Let that truth echo in your actions tonight, tomorrow, and every day until it is no longer words but reality. You have now uncovered the 12 hidden discipline secrets Napoleon Hill never wrote in bold but lived every single day. You have seen that discipline is not a trick, not a moment of motivation, but a code you can install into your identity. The question now is simple. Will you let these secrets stay as ideas, or will you begin to live them as your code starting tonight? If this message spoke to you, take one step right now. Hit subscribe. Like this video. Save it to come back when you need a reminder. Here you will find more of Hill's wisdom decoded into daily action. Remember this. Discipline is not something outside of you. It is who you choose to become. And the moment you declare I am disciplined, you begin to live it. Carry the code with you. Start today. Stay consistent. And let your results speak louder than any excuse.